Something just broke open in the Middle East, and nobody is calling it what it actually is. Right now, while American officials are going on television claiming total victory over Iran, the Iranian national security apparatus is broadcasting a very different message to the world, not whispered through back channels, not leaked to sympathetic journalists, out loud, on the record, in translated statements that the American press is almost entirely ignoring. That gap between what Washington is saying and what Tehran is saying is where the real story lives. And in the next 20 minutes, I'm going to walk you through every single piece of it, because what is unfolding right now is not a victory lap. It is the beginning of something far more dangerous than the war itself. If you're not subscribed to Daily Brief yet, do it now. Hit that button, because what I'm about to lay out for you, the statements, the strikes, the economic fallout, the threats. This is the kind of analysis you will not find assembled anywhere else in one place. We do the work so you don't have to. Let's go back, not 72 hours further. Let's go back to the logic that started all of this. The Trump administration entered this conflict with a theory. The theory was simple: deliver a catastrophic blow early, decimate Iran's leadership, collapse the government's morale, and watch the Islamic Republic implode from within. It was the Venezuela playbook. Fast, decisive, over before anyone could organize a coherent response. According to reporting from multiple intelligence analysts cited in the Washington Post, the strategy relied heavily on the assumption that targeted elimination of senior figures would create a leadership vacuum that could not be filled quickly enough to sustain a coordinated military response. That assumption was wrong. Here is what actually happened. The top leadership of Iran was not decimated. The Ayatollah was not killed. The governmental structure was not disrupted beyond recovery. And now, from the highest levels of the Iranian state, the message coming back to Washington is the opposite of surrender. This is not Iranian spin. This is not propaganda I'm endorsing. I'm showing you exactly what is being said, by whom and why it matters, because you are not hearing it assembled this way on American television. Announcement number one: Iran's foreign minister issued a formal statement directly contradicting the White House's characterization of the conflict status. Foreign Minister Arachi, and I want to be precise here because the exact wording matters, stated publicly that Iranian President Peshki's expressed openness to de-escalation within the region, contingent on neighboring countries not allowing their airspace, territory, or waters to be used to attack Iran, was, in his words, almost immediately killed by President Trump's misinterpretation of our capabilities, determination, and intent. Read that again. Iran's foreign minister said that Iran had extended an opening, a conditional opening, yes, but in opening, and that the Trump administration's response destroyed it within hours. The statement continued, if Mr. Trump seeks escalation, it is precisely what our powerful armed forces have long been prepared for and what he will get. Responsibility for any intensification of Iran's exercise of self-defense will lie squarely with the U.S. administration. Then came the number that the American financial press should be screaming about, and largely is not. The foreign minister said directly that Trump's week-long military campaign had already cost the U.S. military $100 billion, not counting the economic damage to follow when markets reopen. His exact framing, that costs will balloon and directly be transferred to ordinary Americans at pumping stations. $100 billion, dollar in under 2 weeks, and gas prices are already moving. That's announcement number one received. Now, here is where it gets worse. Announcement number two: Iran's National Security Council head Ali Larijani gave a televised interview, translated and verified, in which he laid out in explicit terms what Iran intends to do next. Larijani did not speak in diplomatic abstractions. He said, we're not going to let Donald Trump off the hook. He must pay the price. He martyred our leader and our people. More than 1,000 civilians have already been killed. We will not let it go until we retaliate in kind. So stop there. 1,000 civilians. That number, consistent across multiple sources, including satellite imagery and congressional intelligence briefings, includes what happened in Manab, where an elementary school was struck by the U.S. military, killing approximately 150 children. That event is not disputed by the intelligence community. It is being briefed to members of Congress. It happened. Larijani went further in his interview. He described the American strategic miscalculation in precise terms. He said the U.S. plan had two stages. First, kill enough Iranian leadership to collapse the governmental structure. Second, watch the population turn against the Islamic Republic. Americans thought this would be done very quickly. He said their strategy was to end the war fiercely, but in a short time. But they didn't think Iranians wouldn't let them go. Now they are desperate. What Larijani is describing is not bravado. It is a strategic analysis that is at minimum internally consistent with the facts on the ground. The Islamic Republic has not collapsed. Population has not risen up. So according to analysis from multiple regional observers cited in Reuters and Al Jazeera, the U.S. strikes have instead generated a wave of nationalist unity inside Iran that has paradoxically strengthened the government's domestic position, including among segments of the population who were previously critical of the regime. Trump went in to liberate the Iranian people. He ended up rallying them behind the government he was trying to destroy. That's announcement number 2 received. If you're watching this and it's making sense, if you feel like this is the analysis that's been missing, subscribe to Daily Brief and turn on notifications. We are covering this story every single day in real time with the sourcing you need to actually understand what is happening. Announcement number 3, and this one, nobody is connecting to everything else. The Strait of Hormuz is functionally closed. 20% of the world's crude oil supply moves through that narrow waterway. Right now, it is not moving. Kuwait State Oil Company, Kuwait Petroleum Corporation, OPEC's 5th largest producer, has announced precautionary reductions to oil and refinery output because it cannot export. Qatar has shut down oil production. 2 fuel depots at Kuwait International Airport were struck by Iranian drone attacks, causing, according to eyewitness accounts and video verified by multiple outlets, massive fires across the facility. And now here is what the Trump administration's response has been: naval escorts for oil tankers. The Iranian military's response to that proposal came from the Qatam Alanya Air Defense Headquarters. The spokesperson said, and I'm translating directly, "We welcome the United States escorting oil tankers through the strait. Iranian forces are waiting for the Americans. Entry may be on the surface, but the end will be at the bottom of the Persian Sea." So the strait is closed, and the U.S. is proposing naval escorts. Iran is saying, we will sink them. And in the background, Donald Trump has quietly removed sanctions on Russian oil, allowing Moscow to flood markets in India with discounted crude in what appears to be a desperate move to bring down global prices before the midterm political fallout becomes unmanageable. It is not working. Gas prices are rising anyway. That's announcement number 3 received. Let's talk about what is actually happening inside the region. The part that gets lost when American coverage focuses only on the U.S.-Iran binary. The Trump administration went into this conflict assuming it could contain the blast radius. That assumption has failed completely. Iran's response strategy, as it has become clearer over the past several days, is not to match the U.S. strike for strike inside Iranian territory. It is to export instability across the entire Gulf. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard has struck a skyscraper near Dubai. They have struck a social security building in Kuwait City.